it's so bright in here. Oh, much better. Hello. Well, look, it's 1:30 and the sound's on. Oh my God, we're live. Tra-la-la-la, it's hot. It's hot. I got some Diet Coke. Okay, it'll be good. Boo-yah. Hi. Hi. Bonnets. My bonnets. My bonnet? I totally have a bonnet. Oh, yes, this totally goes. The little red and white flowers. It is adorable. Which I should say adorable parce que je porte le chemise français aujourd'hui. Oui, c'est de la France. Did you understand? You're going, what is she saying? She's speaking in tongues. I said, today I wear a shirt from France. I do, because it is from France. It is beautiful. And it is very comfortable. And it goes with my little red and white bonnet. Hi. What day is it? It is Sunday. Sunday. I'm going to turn up the light. Here we go. Perfect area. So it's Sunday. Hi. And today is August the 2nd. Sunday, August the 2nd, which is mini national day. You know, Kitty is being good today. You know, she's knocking everything over the other day. She's like, I'm just going to sit here and be in the audience. She's just like watching. Hi. So today, did you know that today, August 2nd, is National Coloring Book Day? It is. It's National Coloring Book Day. And Bob just said, oh, here, you have this. I did that whole colorama thing where you do, you know, this sort of thing. I actually did do some. Okay, I'm not like the greatest, but like not terrible. I have many not done because these are great. You get the little pencils and you just color for hours. And you don't have to follow. You can make your birds and flowers whatever color you want them. So you can be crazy. Wait, where's one I did well? Oh, look, I did that. Did I do this? I think I did this. I can't tell. This is, see flowers? Where's one I know I did? It was my messy handwriting. That might have been Bob. It was way too neat. Oh, let's, you know. Yeah, that's me. I did this one. Look at that. See? Coloring. Coloring now. It's coloring, you know, the coloring books and crayons and pencils have been sold out of some places because during the whole social distancing, people are doing the coloring. This is very good book. So it is coloring book day. We were gonna, you know, we were watching a friend show last night. Everybody's doing shows on the internet, and we were gonna go out and get ice cream sandwiches because today is National Ice Cream Sandwich Day, and did not remember to get ice cream sandwiches. But there you go. Because we were gonna get them last night, I didn't because we were watching Pamela Clay. You can find her on Facebook. You look for Pamela Clay. She sings. Well, she's Catahoula. She's the lead singer in Catahoula, and which is the band Bob plays guitar. So Pamela had a show, The Magic Shell, and she does this thing, Metropolitan. Well, you know, like stage it. It's one of those things. She's been doing these shows with these people out of New York, and there she was. And it's a trip because it's virtual nightclub, so they film the audience. So you get dressed up. You have to get dressed up to go watch your Zoom show. You get dressed up and you get drinks and snacks. You get your little cocktails and your snacks, and you set up the computer, and then they come out, and then they can see you, and you go yay, and you applaud and hold up your champagne. It was bananas, and we did it. So I did that. So that's why I didn't get ice cream sandwiches. So there you are. But maybe tomorrow. American Family Day. First Sunday in August. It is American Family Day. That's a good day, yes. Oh, and it's National Sisters Day, which is kind of crazy because it's already American Family Day, so it's National Sisters Day, so I guess y'all all get in on it. National Friendship Day. Now that's convenient because if you don't have a sister, you don't have a family, or you don't really like them, you have National Friendship Day. So whichever situation you're in, you're set. You're set. Whatever it is. If it's your family, your chosen family, your birth family, you got a sister in a family you're crazy about, and you're in lockdown with them and having a great time. Today's the day. Today's the day to appreciate them. That's pretty good. You know, I might get ice cream sandwiches and just eat them tomorrow, and I will definitely have some of those next month. So those are our days, our little days. But it is also, now, you being a bunch of good prairie folk, you know these things. And I know Sarah knows this, and I know you hardcore Little House people know this. You all know this because you're prairie folk. It's August 2nd. August 2nd. Yeah. Nellie Owens Curry of Walnut Grove, Minnesota, who later married, Nellie Owens married Mr. Curry, and she is buried in Forest Grove, Oregon. It's Nellie Owens Curry. Her birthday, It's August 2nd. Today is the birthday of, in fact, yes, the real Nellie Oleson. Mind blown. So think of that. Crackers. It's like shredded wheat. It's totally good for you. Here. And shockingly, the cat has not knocking anything over today. She's just hanging. She's so smart. She learns. Indeed, happy birthday, Nellie. We need vanity cakes. That's what we need. We need a party with and we need a big white sugar cake with white sugar frosting. Yeah. That's what we need. Okay. So, when we last left Laura, she was in a bad mood because it was 109 degrees in the wagon and everyone was poor and she hated them. And there were immigrants and Russians and Germans and people with too many children. She was just It's the Laura Ingalls Wilder PMS I Hate Everyone diary. And I don't think she wanted this published, but Rose was like, oh, it's great. Yeah, on the way home, it's their journey, from De Smet to Missouri. It'll be great. And it's just, each day is, and then it was more horrible things happened. But it's now August. Things have gotten a little better. It cooled off a little. They went swimming. And so she chilled a bit. She felt a little better. And she got some sleep. So she seems slightly a better mood. But every time they meet up with people, she's like, and says all these insulting things. August 1st. It rained a little in the night. We started at 8:40 and the road was level till noon, but terribly hilly all afternoon. We camped by Oak Creek in a little natural glade among the oaks. The best camp yet. Ah, there you go. Started late because of a lame horse, one of Mr. Cooley's. They had to take care of her foot. We met a team of movers going to work out the railroad tracks. Camped early on a little way from Oak Creek Railroad. They have footnotes. This is now, Rose has written these like 8,000 word footnotes, so I literally have to do this because I can't say the footnote. Railroad tax. I suppose this was a local or state tax to pay a subsidy to railroad builders. Railroads are the fastest, most modern transport. Yes, we know. I'm not reading this. Okay, so railroad tax. Okay, they're going to go work out the railroad tax. August 3rd. Started at 9. Good level road into Lincoln, the capital of Nebraska, and a beautiful large city. It is 2 miles from the first hotel to the post office. The county courthouse and the capitol are grand buildings, and so is the penitentiary. We also had a full tour of the insane asylum the other day. Now, why don't they stay there? She's already said she prefers town. She hated farming, and we saw it didn't go very well. And they made more money in town. Now Manza can work, and she likes town, and she can sew, and she hates farming. There she is. Lincoln, at that point, it's like 1890s. It's a big city by then. That's a jumping place. They could have just stayed there. None of this camping and horses and schlepping and farming and locusts. They could have just moved to Lincoln, Nebraska. It's a great place. There you go. But no. Oh, well, we're going to go to the penitentiary now. And then there's some immigrants again. All right, the penitentiary. We saw 2 prisoners in their striped clothes. Oh, I'm dressed for today. I have my... in their striped clothes. Oh, dear. Standing outside the gate in the wall. A carload of new barrels was on a sidetrack beside them. I suppose made by the prisoners. A high stone wall surrounds several buildings and joins the back of the main building. Smaller buildings inside the wall look like workshops, one like a foundry. 8 immigrant wagons trailed over the 3. Over 3? Our 3. Oh, 8 immigrant wagons trailed our 3 through several streets of the city. There are, motor streetcars. There's cars. Motor streetcars in Lincoln. Pet and Little Pet were not afraid of them, but they scared Mrs. Cooley's team so that they plunged up a bank and nearly upset her wagon. But it came out all right. It says here, Paul was not allowed to drive through cities and other dangerous places. Oh, Paul, that was the 10-year-old kid they had driving, where they're like, Paul could drive, and he was 10. So, they did not let the child drive the wagon in the city. But there you go. The cars scared the horses. it's now so modern. You know, we're doing all this stuff where, oh, she's on the prairie and she has to churn butter and she has to, they just hit city and there's cars. So in the real world where it's not the Ingalls, people are living in a city and there are tall buildings and they're driving automobiles to work and they are not churning butter. They're not doing any of this. But no, she's out there with the crops and the things and the locusts, and actually they could be living in Lincoln and driving a car. But okay, you can do that. They came out all right. We crossed 11 creeks today, or one creek 11 times. I don't know which. And we passed Salt Lake northwest of Lincoln. We are camped about a mile from the penitentiary. Temperature 74. Oh, well, she's going to be in much better mood because it's been 99, 102 degrees. On the road, August 4th, on the road at 7:45. A nice level road and good farms fenced with board fences. We're following the telegraph wires to Beatrice. Oh, excuse me. I actually know this because I've been there. Beatrice. She's going to Beatrice, Nebraska, because I've actually been, and it is totally, Beatrice. This is a whole thing about the poor kid Paul not driving. Paul's not allowed to drive through cities and other dangerous places. His mother came back to the second wagon then and took the lines and the responsibility away from him. He was humiliated. And Rose says, I felt hotly in silence this injustice to him. He drove the big team perfectly all the rest of the way. George rode with him, but Paul was responsible for the second team and wagon. Rose just had to jump in and tell us how mad she was that they didn't let the kid drive in the city. It's good that we know that. Okay, having fun at the penitentiary. 7:45, a nice level road and good farms fenced with board fences. We are following the telegraph wires to Beatrice, then do not follow the railroad but go across country. All right. We have crossed Little Salt Creek and Big Salt Creek. Orchards are as common here as houses. Manly traded one fire mat for a whole bushel of large ripe apples. Ah, see, that was the whole thing, is to get to the land of the Big Apple. And finally, they're getting there. Uh-huh. Plums are nearly ripe. Crops look splendid to us, but everyone tells Manly that they are very poor and will make no grain to mention. We passed the best field of oats that Manly ever saw. Saying things are going well in Nebraska, and they're still saying it's not enough. Made a hard, long drive to get to a good camp, and when we got there, we found the creek dry and no grass, but plenty of sandburrs camped in the edge of town. Sunday, August 5th. Same as last Sunday. Saw 5 immigrant wagons. Oh, wait, no, this is funny. Okay. So this has been like a Saturday Night Live sketch, running gag, where she's like, 109 in the wagon, 126 in the shade, 102 today. August 5th. Same as last Sunday. Saw 5 immigrant wagons. Lost the thermometer. She lost the thermometer. We will no longer be reading about it being 109 in the wagon. It'll just be hot because Laura doesn't have the thermometer anymore. August 6th. Started at 8:30 and reached Beatrice at noon. Corn all dried up and no ears on it. Oats and wheat threshed and a great deal of plowing done. Beatrice is not as large as Lincoln, but a nice town, I think. We saw the courthouse. It is handsome. Splendid roads all day. We crossed Blue River just south of Beatrice, drove through Blue Springs at 5 in the afternoon, and crossed Blue River again. Did not see much of the city because we drove along the north edge and down the east side past a big mill run by water power. The river runs east of the town, a very pretty river. I do not mention orchards anymore because they are common here. There are so many of them. We saw 8 acres of seedling apple trees about 12 inches high near Blue Springs. Today has been quite cool, but with a little too much wind. And we don't know how cool because she lost the thermometer. Now, I've been to Omaha, and I have been to Beatrice, and gorgeous, and Omaha's a lovely place, and Nebraska is really nice. Oh, Okay, kitty, you look a little warm. It's a little hot today. Cat's like melting. Flopped out. August 7th. On the road at 7:30, we crossed the line into Kansas at 10:28 and 1/4 minute exactly. All right. Judging from what we have seen and heard of Nebraska, the southeast corner is quite a good country, but taken as a whole, it is nix good. I don't like Nebraska. What? What upset her? I thought Nebraska was pretty good. Apple trees. There was a town, Lincoln. There was a whole city. Like they said, they could have stopped in Lincoln and got an apartment and got a car and just ended all of this madness with the turning of the butter and dealing with the horses. But, man. Heavens to Betsy. All right. So I don't, she doesn't like, why don't you like it? Crossed Deer Creek at 11 o'clock. At 4 in the afternoon, we came to Marysville. And it might be Marysville. I just know that in Tennessee, it's Marysville. So Marysville, so that's what I'm going to say, because it's Marysville if you're near Knoxville. The county seat of Marshall County on the Blue River. Here there is a watermill, capacity 300 barrels a day. We saw many nice houses and 2 palatial residences in town. Around one is a massive brick fence, about 5 feet high, thick and strong looking. On each side of the front gate, a large granite lion is crouching, and on each side of the side gate, a large granite dog is lying down. Beyond Marysville, we saw an acre of sweet potatoes, large dark green leaves on vines covering the ground. We drove 27 miles today and camped near a house where there were 2 men drunk. So we had, and there was an idiot, and there were children who looked like pigs, and now we have drunks. There were 2 men drunk. They had lost the bars off their wagon, wanted to trade horses, etc. Manly had a time getting rid of them without offense. August 8th. Started at 8:30. Soon crossed Little Elm Creek and Big Elm Creek and drove through the beautiful woods of elm, oak, ash, hickory, butternut, and walnut. Wild plums, grapes, and currants are abundant, and briars and wildflowers of all kinds, a rich sight. Crossed Blue River again, a lovely river, so clean always and fresh and cool. We crossed it on a bridge. This bridge is about 300 feet long. Irving is a tiny small town, but it has an opera. An opera house with a round roof. It looks like an engine boiler. It's the perfectly lovely opera, and all she can say is it looks like an engine boiler. It's terrible. And picture, Marysville, Kansas, German Day Parade, which probably took place around the time they were there. Well, that's a big town. That is a big town. That's like a real place. Yeah. I don't know why they don't just stop and live in the towns. All right. Then we cross the Blue again. Every time we cross it, it is lovelier than before. Improved land here is from $15 to $25 an acre. Could buy an 80 on the Blue Bottom, well improved for $3,000. The bottom land is all good farms. The bluffs are stony. We camped near Springside. Well named, there are springs on every side. I got water from a spring that boils up of solid rock, cool and clear. And I'm like, why not stay there? August 9th. Started at 8:30. Awfully hilly roads and stony. We saw a milk house built of stone with a spring running through it. A splendid thing. Land in, I can say this, Potawatomi County. Potawatomi County is $4 an acre up. Camped in the edge of Westmoreland, the county seat. At supper time, we had company, some men, 2 women, and children. They are regular Southerners, camped nearby, traveling north to Nebraska or maybe Dakota, looking for work. August 10th. Started at 8:30 and drove through the driest country we have seen since leaving Dakota. Went through Louisville, drove 3 miles farther, and camped on the bank of the Vermeil River. Some call it Stony Creek. August 12th. And August 12th, that's Bob's birthday, by the way. He's down the hall. Today was not as monotonous as common. a slightly less terrible mood. 3 immigrant wagons passed us going south and 1 going north. Manley and Mr. Cooley took turns talking to the people. 5 wagons were going to Missouri or Arkansas, 1 to Arkansas and 1 to Indian Territory. We had a good camping place on a little headland by the river. I rode Little Pet a while, bareback, not going anywhere. She was turned loose to feed. 2 immigrants talked to me, a young man and his mother in their wagon. They used to live in Missouri, went to Colorado, and are now going back to Missouri to stay. Boy, that's a lot of back and forth and whatnot. So we're used to reading about the 1870s, at the beginning of the book, 1870s, where it's this westward expansion and the Homestead Act and the 1880s and let's go to Kansas, let's go, everyone's going west. But it's 1890s. It's almost the 20th century. As I said, Lincoln, there's cars. It's modern. And people in wagons are going back and forth, and some of them are going out west, some of them are going, no, I got to go home, because it's the panic of 1894. It is such a crushing, giant economic depression. Everything has just gone that a lot of people are either saying, well, we need to leave and try to find better financial situation in another place, look for work, or the people who came to a new town for work and build a farm and homestead are like, we can't make it. We got to go home, go back home, live in with our relatives. So, tripping. August 13th. Drove through St. Mary's, a pleasant town. Back home, it's about a pleasant town, totally lose space here. 55, 56. But strange. It's a pleasant town, but strange. It is altogether southern and, oh dear, I'm going to need a drink here. Okay, so let's see. Is there anyone Laura hasn't offended in this one? It's a strange town. Pleasant town, but strange. It is altogether southern and Catholic. Okay, we've done the Irish, we've done the Germans, we've done the Russians, we've done the developmentally disabled, we've done the people in the prison, and now it's the Catholics. What is she going? Please tell me she's not going to go rip up the Catholics. No, okay, she's going to be nice. There is a beautiful large church with a pure white marble St. Mary above the wide doors and 2 white marble statues of mother and child in the yard. The houses are neat and pretty. It is a clean town. We drove to the top of a little bluff to look over the Kansas River, and there on the bottom lands we saw cornfields stretching as far as the eye could reach. Manley said he should think there were 1,000 acres in sight. On our way, Manley went to a farmhouse to trade a fire mat for some green corn for our supper, and we had an invitation to stay to dinner and put our horses in the barn and feed them. The woman came out to make me welcome. Such nice people, and a nice place, everything well kept up. Of course, we could not stay. We could not be neighborly to them in return, and we must get to Missouri and settle before winter. At noon, we went through Rossville, a small place, but just as we were going by the depot, the train came in. The engine frightened Prince, and he went through a barbed wire fence. He struck it straight and went right through it, end over end, jumped up, ran against clothesline and broke that and ran back to the fence. He stopped when Manley said, "Whoa, Prince," and Manley helped him through the wire. He had only 1 mark, cut about an inch long, where a barb had struck him. How he ever got through so well is a wonder. Watermelons are ripe and plentiful. Tomorrow's watermelon day. We'll probably have some watermelon today. Manley and Mr. Cooley bought big ones for 5 cents. We stopped by the road in the shade of trees, and all of us had all the watermelon we could eat. We passed Kingsley Station, 80 miles west of Kansas City, Missouri, and 558 miles east of Denver, Colorado. Went through Silver Lake. Wait, we're back by Silver Lake. Different Silver Lake. We went through Silver Lake. The lake itself is south of town. It's 4 miles long and half a mile wide, and trees are all around it. There is a place where a man rents boats. We camped in a schoolhouse yard. There was a hedge all around it and a pump by the house, besides a sycamore tree. 2 families going by in covered wagons stopped for water. They had been to Missouri. and were going back home to dispose of their property in Nebraska, and then they were moving to Missouri. It is, and she emphasizes, they're terribly dusty. We breathe dust all day, and everything is covered thick with it. Harumph. And harumph, she says. August 14th. Started at 8:30. Dust is 3 to 5 inches deep on the road, and the breeze is on our back, so all the time we are in a smother of dust. Along the roads are hedges of Osage orange trees, 20 or 30 feet high, set close together. They are thorny. Their fruit is like green oranges, but no good to eat, nor for anything else. We stopped to eat dinner about a mile from Topeka, then drove on through the city. There are a great many... Oh, dear. Did the Catholics? The Germans, the Russians, the Indians, people with too many children. Laura. Okay, so what does she not like now? Well, I had not been to Topeka, but according to Laura, there are a great many African-American people in it and around it. Okay, she doesn't use like the horrible word that they were using in like Happy Golden Years at the minstrel show. It's not quite that bad, but she's just kind of using the archaic. I think this was actually considered a politically correct way to refer to black or African American people in the 1930s, and certainly in 1894. In 1894, this was probably polite, but it's not considered generally polite now. It's just kind of making it polite, like 1894. At least she's not calling them what she called them in the other book. But I'm like, no, we didn't. Stop, no. Okay, so a great many of them. In North Topeka, the streetcars are electric. In South Topeka, there are motor cars. Things are moving forward. It's all this. We keep thinking of Laura's trapped in like 1875, and she's not. Remember when Laura, by the time Laura grew up and wrote the books and published, she went all over the country. She flew on a plane. She was interviewed on the radio. She's totally lived in modern times, and she's already in modern times. There's all this stuff of them being in a house, and, well, we had to make a little lamp wick with some fat and some thread because we had no light in the lantern, and had to, burn twist hay in the stove because there was no heat and we'll freeze to death, and, got to milk the cow, and, if the locusts come, we have no food. They have electric streetcars. She's in a city right now where there are electric streetcars, and people are driving gas automobiles. It's completely it is almost the 20th century. They're driving cars as electric streetcars, and so this business of them living in little shacks with no electricity and lighting wick candles, no, that's like not a thing anymore. Either they're not going to be doing that in Missouri, or if they're doing that, they are really, really poor. And that's the thing, is a lot of things that the Ingalls did. They start kind of doing good in a little town on the prairie. They start, they have a little house, the shack there in town, the shanty, and they start having, buying things. They get the good house, and they get the organ from her, and the sewing machines come out. They start getting stuff. But the reality is, for people who lived in the city or had any money to speak of, they had modern conveniences. They were starting to have electricity. Well, and Walnut Grove, we did the episode of the phone. People were starting to have phones, and they had cars, and they had streetcars, electric streetcars, ding, 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 little trolleys. But we're still reading about the Ingalls living in these 1870s conditions because they didn't have any money. And so they were living in very, very primitive conditions. Because, 5 minutes ago, like I said, they were making their own candles, and now there's electric streetcars. So, eek. Yeah. The streets are asphaltum pavement. They're asphalt. They're paved. Asphaltum pavement, because it was a new thing, so it's asphaltum pavement, and it's lovely to drive on. So soft and quiet that it doesn't seem real. Okay, she's like excited. She's like driving on a road. It gives like rubber to the horses' feet. The calks on their shoes make dents in it, and slowly the dents fill up till the place is smooth again. We drove a block out of our way to see the Capitol, where they had that war in the legislature. The building is handsome, but the grounds are all unkempt, not finished at all. We crossed the Kansas River on an iron bridge that must be 400 or 500 feet long. The river is like the Platte, not quite as wide, but full of sandbars. South of Topeka, a man gave us some late daily papers. He has 240 acres here, and his home is in Colorado. He has mining interests there. He told Manley that the fuss over silver in Washington has made him lose $1 million. That actually happened? We don't know. We camped by the side of a church in dust. So there you go. People are living in houses with electricity and riding streetcars and driving cars, and they're camping by the side of the road. They could have taken the train. They could have stayed at a hotel. People were doing that. So, a lot of what, sadly, a lot of what Laura is writing about and wrote about, even in children's books, the 9 books, a lot of the conditions that she goes through with her family are not as much about life in the 1800s as life with absolutely no money in the 1800s. That the conditions are living. They're riding in a covered wagon and camping by the side of the road. But people are passing them in cars and taking the train and going to hotels. So those things, it's not that they have to go that way because that's the only way. Millions of people are doing it the other way. It's because that's all they can afford. It's like the old movies about the Depression and the Dust Bowl and people, going across country, trying to get, it's more about her family's access to modern conveniences that in fact existed at the time. So, yikes. August 15th. Started at 7:20. Found a little black and tan dog in the road, lost. Oh, he has skin and bones, must have been starving, and is afraid of us. We stopped at several houses to ask, but nobody knew where he belonged. So we are taking him along. Oh, she saved the dog. Okay, finally, she's being nice. I'm very happy now. The children delight to feed him milk. We have named him Fido. Yay, they kept the dog. I'm so happy. Today I saved a horse chestnut, and we came to hazelnuts for the first time. Went through Richland at noon. We drove past the church. There was a Sunday school picnic on the church grounds. Oh, picture of Kansas Avenue in Topeka, Kansas, when we passed through. So here's a picture. And it's hard to see because it's a funky black and white photo. It's not that great. But look, there's very modern buildings and streetcars. It's a modern city. We camped by a schoolhouse in the southwest corner of Douglas County. There was good grass for the teams, and a pump gushed out delicious, cold, clear water. This is the best farming country we have seen yet. Prairie with natural groves here and there and timber along the creeks. As we came along the road, Manley sold and traded a good many fire mats. That's the thing about the fire mats. He's got these, it's the asbestos, which is like horrible with the little tin edges, and you can he's selling fire mats. That's how they're making their way across town here. One farmer wanted to rent him a farm for a third of the crops. Another came to us at the schoolhouse where we camped and wanted us to stay here and rent. We are going on to Missouri, but may come back here if we do not like it there. Land here is worth $20 to $40 an acre. Okay, people are begging them to stay in these lovely, beautiful towns. And they're like, no, we're totally going to Missouri. That's what we're doing, and we're sticking to it. And so there. So, okay, if you say so, Laura. Okay, I would totally be giving it up and stopping. But there you go. August 16th. On our way at 7:25. Fido is quite friendly this morning, but still seems sad. But he has stopped trembling and seems content to sit in my lap and look at the country we are passing. The wheat crop is bountiful here, and the corn crop is pretty good. There is a coal bank where men mine the coal and sell all they dig for $1.25 a ton. At 5 in the afternoon, we came through Ottawa. Ottawa, are they in Canada? Did they take a wrong turn? Okay, well, Ottawa. There is a north and a south Ottawa, separated by the Meridigene River. Meridigene River. They are the county seat of Franklin County. The men of Ottawa stole the county seat in the night from another town, and for some time they had to guard it with the militia to keep it. The courthouse is quite an imposing building, and apparently in the 1890s they thought that was a totally normal thing to do. The Santa Fe Railroad Hospital is in the north edge of North Ottawa, a large brick building. It looks very clean. In South Ottawa, there is a handsome college building made of the native stone. Then she's off on the black people again, sorry. And in all the towns now, there are many African Americans. We camped on the bank of Rock Creek in the suburbs of South Ottawa. 2 men coming by stopped and looked at prints for some time, and as they went on, the elderly one said to the other, "That is the nicest colt I have seen for years. The hens are laying yet." Poor chickens in the wagon. So, yes, now on the one hand, she is remarking on these things, that it is sort of different that, the Civil War was only the 1860s, and so the fact that they're going to these cities, they're going very far north, and they're going, wow, there's like black people living in the city, not just out on the farms or in the country down south. And they're like riding the streetcars and hanging out and are in the city and working. And so this is probably highly unusual and a major historical development. So I suppose that is why they mention oh, look, there's a lot of black people. But that's what it kind of comes off as, because she's, as I said, this is not a happy trip. She didn't want to go. The crops failed. They have to go to Missouri. She doesn't want to go. And they're not riding the train and staying at a hotel. They're slogging it out in a wagon, and it's been 109 degrees. So this woman is not in a good mood. So she does kind of say rude things to people here. And the chickens are laying. Okay. Ottawa. I keep thinking, well, Ottawa's in Canada, but there's also an Ottawa, a town of Ottawa in America. August 17th. Fido is a good watchdog. He growls at every stranger who comes to the wagon at night, at everyone that passes. We started at 7:30. The wild morning glories are rioting everywhere, all colors like the tame ones. We passed a large field of castor beans. They are raised here as a crop. They run 10 to 15 bushels to the acre and sell for $1.25 to $1.50 a bushel. They are picked every 2 weeks, piled up in the sun till they pop open, then run through a fanning mill and sacked. What can you do? Castor beans. I'm not sure. I thought castor beans were poisonous. I don't know. You make castor oil? I don't know what you do with castor beans. We reached Lane, at 4 o'clock, and had old Pet shod. The blacksmith came from Kentucky 2 years ago and looks just like the pictures of a Kentucky man. He has 130 acres of bottom land running down to the Potawatomi River. I'm getting notes. Ha ha. Oh, yes. Newsletter. The Potawatomi River, and a stone house as large as any house in De Smet. It is very handsome and perfectly finished. The house stands on Main Street in Lane, and the land lies northwest from it. He's going back to Kentucky, and wants to sell. Asks $4,300 for shop, house, and land. That's a pretty good deal. I've just been notified. By the way, Bob's working on the newsletter. If you want to get this month's newsletter, if you haven't got, are you getting the newsletter? You're probably all getting the newsletter. If you're not getting the newsletter, now would be the time to sign up. Go to loosegravelprod.com, email loosegravelprod.com and say, I want the newsletter. And if you do it now and you've never got, you'll be able just in time to get this month's. So, cool. South of Lane, we stopped at a farmhouse to ask for water, and the woman said she did not have enough to spare, but we could get plenty over yon way. Camped again by a schoolhouse and pump. Washed out some things after supper. They dry overnight. It's hot. August 18th. Started at 7 this morning. Went through Goodrich. Came to Parker at noon. They are both small places, and the country around them is not as good as we've been seeing. The people say they never have the rain here that others get farther north. Camped by Big Sugar Creek up on its high bank in the woods beside the road. Sunday, August 19th. Mr. Cooley's stove had worked loose. Oh dear. He and Manley had to fix it so it will ride. Remember, they got stoves and everything in the wagon here. Mrs. Cooley and I and the children went down to the creek and found some mussels and some clamshells. Oh. A woman and 2 children came to see us. They come from Missouri, and they're camping nearby on their way to Nebraska. People just going back and forth here from Missouri, Nebraska. They're just like, no, I hate Nebraska. We're going to Missouri. And there's other people like, oh, yeah, we're going to Nebraska. I don't know, Nebraska sounds great. August 20th. Still going. How far am I going to go with this madness? I got to leave something for tomorrow here. Ah, yeah, so we started on 24, 54, so like one more page of this nonsense. Okay. August 20th. Got a good start at 7:30, but the roads are awfully stony. Crops are poor. Everyone tells us they never get rain here when they need it. This is more complaining here. We went through Wall Street. It is nothing but a little country store. At noon, we came to Mound City, which is quite a city. We bought bread and an 8-cent pie and 2 cents worth of tomatoes. Tomatoes are 30 cents a bushel. We stopped to eat dinner in the shade of a tree beside the road. 3 immigrant wagons passed while we were eating. 2 were going to Missouri and 1 coming back. This afternoon we saw 3 more. 1 going to Missouri and 1 coming back. This is crazy. Manly did not ask the other. Water has been scarce all day, and what little we found tasted so bad we could not get a good drink. It's clear and clean, but it feels slick and tastes bitter. Spoils the taste of tea. The horses have to be very thirsty to take it. Camped beside the road on the prairie. Bought a little hay and could get only a little water. Looks like rain. Harumph. Oh, dearie me. Well, finally, it's going to rain. I will start the It Finally Rains chapter tomorrow. Poor Laura. She's just not having a good time. We'll have to read something very happy after this one. Like I said, I'm thinking Bill Anderson's book about Laura is much more, very historical, but it's a little more cheery. Because she's having a hard time of it. And man, oh man, she's giving everybody a hard time. I did like the one where she said, well, if I was an Indian, I'd have scalped a lot of white people before I'd have given up this land. Yeah, so how do you know if the wagons are immigrant, as I said, right? And she's, it was, the Russians and the Germans, but it's, and indeed, in the 1890s, there were an enormous number of people coming in from Europe at that time. But yeah, Laura, we knew we were in trouble when she went to the house and said they had many, many pigs and many, many children. I couldn't tell them apart. It's like, wow. So she is, this is the Bad Mood Diary. It's just the Bad Mood Diary. She's just sad and hot and tired and cranky and wants to just get it over and be in Missouri. So this does go on for several more chapters. So we'll see who she insults. And perhaps she shall cheer up when she finally arrives in Missouri. The poor thing. So I feel bad for Laura. It was hard. Everything was so hard. This is the 1800s. It's just like, everything is so hard. My grandma, they say my grandma, and my I didn't know they say my great-grandma, she was pretty cranky. My grandma was cranky sometimes. And my great-grandma, they said, was very tough and because everything's awful in the 1800s. Remind them to sign up. So if you have not signed up for that newsletter, you send an email to loosegravelprod@aol.com and say, I want the newsletter. There you go. And we got almost 4,000 people signed up. So, but join the party. Come on, sign up for the newsletter. And remember, I will be appearing at this end of the living room next Thursday, August 6th. And I'm going to put up a thing on Facebook because if you want to ask questions, I do questions from the audience. And when it was live with people, I had little cards. But what I'll do is you ask some questions on Facebook, and then I'll write them down on little cards and answer them during the show. And it will be awesome. We will do that. Tuesday, doing my little interview thing. It's really cool. I've got 3 people on. So I'm like, ooh, 3 people is going to be complicated, but we'll do it. And it's all about, it's the 30th anniversary of the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act. And so I'm going to be interviewing 3 very famous actors who are all people living with different disabilities, but are all performing in Hollywood, and how they've had to deal with all of the difficulties and how things like the ADA have helped them. It'll be fascinating. You'll love it. Also, Jerry Joel, what I said, who you love. So she's going to be there. There you go. So I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday. And hopefully Laura Ingalls Wilder will be in a slightly better mood. And we'll have watermelon and ice cream sandwiches. And we'll be styling. And bonnets, more bonnets. And yes, I know you've all placed like a million orders, and I am trying to get them out to you. So we will do the best we can. And they should get there. It'll be fine. So I will see you tomorrow. So wear your masks, wash your hands, and stay cool. It's kind of hot. It's hot. Stay cool. Don't get too hot. And take care of your friends. I'll see you tomorrow.